What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and we are doing another experiment on Madden 22, and today we are going to be looking at the most overpowered playbook in Madden, and of course, we all know by now that that is the Kansas City Chiefs playbook. They end up with pretty decent rushing numbers, and obviously out of this world receiving numbers. The thing about that is, it's only the Chiefs that run that, or if you're a rebuilder, whatever, you know, that team as well. But you can see here that every team that has a 4-3, I put their defense as well as the Chiefs. And of course, their offense is KC with the West Coast spread, meaning that every single team in the game will be throwing the ball as if they have Patrick. Oh, I'm sorry, Jets. This is a good opportunity to actually go through and make sure we actually did do the right thing. So the Jets and the Seahawks are incorrect. It might just be glitched, though, because I remember very specifically that I did not make a mistake. Or I'm lying. When would I do that? But speaking of lying, maybe leave a like and subscribe. I know you'll love it here, and you'll want to stay forever. Like I said, you know? But obviously, okay, so maybe I did make a mistake. It's pretty coincidental that that's right next to it. Oh, please just let me go to Seattle. If there's any other experiments kind of similar to this where, you know, everyone could be, you know, the same thing or whatever, let me know in the comment section below. Of course, I'm always interested to see these types of experiments and see how, you know, much certain things play a factor, and it's not just, you know, just the what is it called, the roster. So, you know, seeing that this playbook, if every team passes really well, that would be very bizarre and it'd be really telling. But I'm kind of curious. I'm going to make sure everything's right because I spent way too much time changing all those freaking schemes. And I don't want to do it again. Please. All right, so far so good. It's like week 4. Everyone's still chilling. And okay, so this is the big interesting thing is I want to see not the standings, but the NFL. So the Bills being the number 1, not surprising. Buccaneers, not surprising. Cowboys, Ravens, Broncos, a little surprising. Panthers, not really. Colts, a little bit. The Texans did pretty well. Who are the teams that suffered the most? So the Giants, who do run the ball a lot, but have good receivers, fair enough. The Rams, though, I know they do like a healthy dose of running, but they do have Stafford now, so I thought they would have done a little bit better than that. Football team, we're not going to talk about. I mean, the standings don't really surprise me. They really don't. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all, and it doesn't surprise me based on whether they have a really good passing attack or rushing attack, forced to use these new playbooks and all that. We do see Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, all those guys up there. What are the touchdowns like? Let's see these. So, Russell Wilson. Let's see the average NFL yardage. Oh my, okay, yeah, it's safe to say the Chiefs playbook definitely works because the lowest actual quarterback would technically be Darnold at 4,500 yards because, of course, Zach Wilson and Cam Newton, they kind of combined for like 5,300 yards. But look at the amount of guys in the 5,000s. You don't see that often. You really don't. Let's take a look at these touchdowns. 57, 56, 48, 48, 47, 46, 44, 43, 43, 43, 42, 42, 41, 41, 40. So like half the league threw for 40 plus touchdowns on the season. Let's take a look at the completion percentage. Average completion percentage is pretty damn good at 65, 66%. The running back numbers definitely lower. We would normally see way more 1,000-yard rushers than that. I'll actually take a look and compare it after this. I didn't really think to do that because, you know, we kind of expect to see these kind of numbers. James Robinson, though, still with insane touchdowns, low yards. Same with Jacobs, who would normally be like 1,700 yards or something ridiculous. Chubb would be way higher than that. So their touchdowns aren't really affected, but the yards definitely are. Let's take a look at the receivers. Danny Amendola with 1,762, 1,759 for Landry, Renfro, 1,600. I mean, look at the list of no-name guys that were probably in the slot. And look, I mean, just look at them go. I mean, all the slot receivers are kind of just balling out. Let's see what the touchdowns look like. 17. Blocking, we should see a bunch of sacks allowed from some tackles. Of course, Darius. I mean, look at these tackle numbers. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's take a look at how many tackles there were on defense. Any of these numbers, anything crazy? Thought maybe we would have seen. Yeah, so sack numbers seem to be higher than normal because, of course, there's more passing involved. Mac with 30.5. Normally, you'd see at most maybe 24 or 25. A lot of guys up there in the list. Would kicking be any higher? Probably not, right? Let's take a look at the... this will probably be the easiest way for us to tell. So the lowest pass yards per game, or just in general, would be 4,500. That's the lowest. So we'll keep that in the mind. And then the lowest touchdowns passing was 28. And then the highest, with a bunch of them up there, would be the Buccaneers at 61-46. And I think 58 touchdowns was the most, 58 TDs. We'll obviously have to compare that. So the lowest amount of first downs, not that that's going to be necessarily like, expected, is 247. The most would be 338. And then the big one, I suppose, would be rushing yards. The highest being 2K rush. Touchdowns I'm not going to look at because it seems like the touchdowns really didn't matter. And the lowest was 1146, which is pretty low, right? Passing for defense, I don't really care. We seen that it really didn't matter. These are the award winners. Not that it really matters too much, but if you want to see it, we'll take a look at the quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, all of them. It doesn't matter because once again, they're all the same scheme. It would really be based more on how good the players around them are, and the best quarterback and all that. I don't see that happening this year, I'll be honest with you. But let's take a look at who wins the Super Bowl with this, this newfound craziness. I also kind of want to see what happens after the season. Are they all going to revert to an old playbook, or are they only going to revert if they actually change their staff? The Buffalo Bills versus the Packers, and the winner of this one, it seems like Green Bay, and Green Bay does win it all. So let's move on to next week. Hopefully the staff is still there, which I don't know if it will be. I would imagine most teams would have hired new staff by now, right? Because I don't see any new staff stuff. It usually happens once your season's over. So team schemes, let's take a look if any teams changed. And I don't see any yet. We, of course, had that all up to date. There's still KC. I want to see if they would change next year. Because there's obviously a couple of firings, right? There's going to be a few of them. Because there was some pretty bad teams. All right, so it's the start of preseason. How many teams have changed their schemes? There might be some that have actually changed their defense, but I can't be bothered. Oops, accident. That's the 3-4. I don't see any team changes. Any? So they're all still KZ. Okay, I guess it's supposedly time to move on to the regular one and see how different it was. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at the standings. So see if the Rams are still way down there now that they can actually run the ball. And now the Rams still suck. They still aren't very good. The teams are all kind of similar, but which actually might be a different video in itself, kind of exposing that EA doesn't care how good you play. It's just all about kind of fixing the same teams to win. But let's take a look at the quarterbacks, I suppose. The obvious, average for the high is nowhere near. There's a bunch of 54s, and there's some guys in the 6,000s. There's one of them at least. The lowest numbers for, I should not have done it this way, by the way, but the lowest numbers for passing appear to be the Niners with like 4,300, 3,200 for Ryan Tannehill, 3,500 for Kirk Cousins, 3,600 for Daniel Jones. Kind of the expected numbers you would expect to see. And then for the lowest touchdowns, that's interceptions. The highest touchdown was 46. I believe we had 57 from Rodgers, something like that. The lowest here is very low for passing, which is all the way down at 19 passing. That is so bad. Rushing, of course, is much higher. Rushing is all the way at 1757. For touchdowns, we probably had some guys up there. Receiving, definitely lower by like 300 each, pretty much it seems. But the big one I want to see is just the straight-up offensive stats. The highest pass yards we had on the other one, I believe, was 6,100 yards, with the most touchdowns being 58, which is 47 here. The lowest rushing or passing yards, I believe, was, what was it, like 4,000? As far as rushing goes, this will be changed quite a bit. The highest was just at 2K. This one's at 2,500. The lowest on the other one was like 1,100. This one's 12, so not much of a change there in fairness. But definitely a big change in the top numbers. The big question mark, though, is how come it didn't change the way the standings were? The standings were pretty much almost identical, realistically, unless I'm missing somebody like clear cut. But the standings were very, very similar. despite the fact that there were complete different philosophies, right? Like, the Giants went the exact same with actually being able to run the ball a ton versus kind of passing it primarily. I'm not sure why that was the case. Once again, it kind of worries me that maybe there's a lot of scripting involved where it's just like, hey, the Chiefs need to go to the Super Bowl every damn time. Buccaneers need to follow at least the first and second year. But I suppose the Chiefs, as always, in the Super Bowl, and the winner between the Cowboys and the Chiefs is actually the Cowboys, but, I mean, that's not super crazy. Anyways, that was interesting. Let me know if there's a different playbook that you guys know is, like, really OP for running and see what, it can happen to the league and see if, guys like Patrick Mahomes can beat it or not. If there's anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. If there's defensive playbooks that are OP or something, let me know. If you have an idea for a blast in the past player, a career re-simulation, a career simulation in general, you want to see how Zach Wilson's career finishes or something like that, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know any idea you have for anything, really. And, of course, speaking of Blast in the Past, we should have another video for Blast in the Past in a few hours, maybe 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, hopefully. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys come back for next video. But until next video,